Coming up next, I'm going to address a couple Fragcomm conspiracies about fragrances in general that I see a lot, and just want to give my take or opinion on them. So stay tuned, this is interesting. Welcome back, everybody. This is Joel the Nose, and today I'm doing a little kind of different video. This is going to be on debunking conspiracy theories in Fragcomm, or maybe common misconceptions that people hold, and just information that I've learned really kind of through making my own fragrances. For a year now, I've been making my own fragrances just for my own sake of learning how to do things to train my nose better. So I've been doing this kind of learning on the fly. And there's a couple things that you see a lot that people talk about, right? First conspiracy that I see a lot on message boards or whatever, different people talking about, groups, Facebook groups. And that is, the age-old question of synthetics versus naturals. And then you'll see obviously people talking about a fragrance and they're like, oh, this one's beast mode, this one lasts forever, this one isn't, this one, Bottom line is, what comes down to, and I know this now personally from working with all these different essential oils. I have about 50 different fragrance oils that I use, that I tinker with. And when and you can read this, if you read perfume making books, you'll see this also. If a fragrance is all natural, meaning there's no synthetics in it, it by nature is going to only last a short period of time. You're not going to have this kind of beast mode sillage. You're not going to have beast mode longevity, because natural oils just are not, that's not how they work. They're going to be gone within maybe 2 or 3 hours. That's going to be about typically what you're going to get. Contrast that with, say, a 100% synthetic fragrance is going to have a much better chance of sillage. They put in chemicals and materials. They put in fixative agents. They put in things like ISO-E Super. These are additives from the fragrance companies that give it the ability to project, that also give it the ability to last longer. It's just pure chemistry. I've become a little bit of a chemist now, because as you measure these things and do it, you learn these properties. So for example, just let me give you an example. This is pure jasmine oil. This is just pure all natural. So when I make a fragrance, I will put jasmine oil if that's one of the components I'm using. Whereas you could also put, as an alternative, this is hedione. So hedione is from Firmenich, one of the fragrance, chemical companies, and that will give you a longer lasting version of jasmine. And so that's what a lot of people do. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times synthetics are also cheaper. So they not only give you longer lasting, better performance, but a lot of times they're cheaper. Not always, but typically. Now, here's a little secret that I think I've learned from fragrance making that perfumers do. They will list, of course, among their notes, they list jasmine oil, and they'll give it an elaborate name like jasmine from the Congo. I'm just giving an example, or jasmine from Madagascar, whatever it is they want to say. What they may do is put a few drops of the real jasmine oil, because then they can say that it does, but then they may put hedione or some other synthetic that mirrors the jasmine, and the bulk of it is that synthetic. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying one's better than the other. This is just reality. It's chemistry. These are how fragrances work. So just kind of wanted to address that. If you want a fragrance that's going to last a long time and give you that beast mode, it's going to need synthetics, and that's perfect. I think a good fragrance, what I try to do is blend both natural and synthetics to give my fragrances that I make for myself a good compromise. All right. The next, or number 2 conspiracy that you see a lot is about reformulation. And I think this is typically out there because people obviously, for example, will have a bottle of Aventus from 8-9 years ago, they compare it to now, or whatever fragrances that you like. This is the thing. Any fragrance that sits over time is going to macerate naturally in the bottle. Most of you know this already. I know this now. These are bottles of fragrances that I've made in the last year. Again, I've been making fragrances for myself for about a year now, just so I can learn more about fragrances. And you'll see, as it sits there over months, it macerates, it will get darker, it will change in consistency a little bit, it will change in smell. So anything that's going over years, you're going to see is going to smell different from what it was what it is now. So I'm not saying reformulation doesn't happen, but typically why again that may even happen is because if a fragrance was made, say, 8 years ago, the original juice that came out, things change. Laws change. You may have European laws, American laws. They may ban a certain element that was in the original fragrance, so now they have to use a synthetic that's a little bit different. The prices vary. These are commodities. Things go up and down. It may have gotten prohibitively expensive to, say, include an original oud, so now they use a different type of oud from a different country, so it's going to give it a slight thing. So I think that this is something that's talked about in general, and when you look at it, a lot of it has to do with maceration. Things are going to change over time as they naturally sit. Maceration doesn't stop. This is not a finite thing. A bottle doesn't, when you buy it from the store, it hasn't completed maceration. And I know this now because I have stuff that's been sitting here for a year and it's still macerating. So anyways, just a couple quick points, couple little, I don't know if I want to call them conspiracies, but little facts, fun things, conspiracies in the fragrance community. Hope you found this useful, entertaining. This is Joel the Nose. I will be back soon with another video. Thanks for watching, guys.